Rush. I'm George Balejki. He's Travis Thomas. We got a packed show for you guys today. Sean McGuire of NESN.com joins us to break down what he saw from day one of OTAs. Trav and I finish up going pick by pick through the rest of the Patriots' regular season schedule. Yes, you'll hear our predictions. And, of course, that'll lead to the discourse of when Drake May plays. But let's bring him in. He's with us off the top of the show. Sean McGuire, live from I-95, it looks like. Sean, we know the golf attire. First off, let's start off. What do you shoot today, and how many strokes are you subtracting from your actual score?
I kept score for probably the first 8 or 9 holes, and then I think I teed off on 10. It wasn't good from there, and then so I stopped counting. But I kept up with the group.
Oh, man.
That's what matters. You do the same thing as me. 9 holes, that's my attention span. Doesn't matter.
Man.
Yeah.
All right, the important stuff, where the attention span stayed. Day one of OTAs, not just rookies, but the vets showing up, those that did report. What stood out to you day one, seeing Drake May with his receivers, veterans as well, and also first looks at the ones on the offensive line for the Pats as well? But what stood out to you just from day one of OTA observations for the Patriots?
Yeah, no, and I actually wrote about this for NESN.com yesterday. I would say the biggest thing that stood out was it was like a seniority line. It was, Jacoby Brissett was taking first team reps. Bailey Zappi was taking second, pretty much second team reps. And then it was Drake May and Joe Milton after that. So it was most noticeable among quarterbacks, but that's really what the case was at wide receiver. KJ Osborne and Tyquan Thornton were the first team reps for those guys. In these, quote unquote competitive, I guess they're called competitive, but it's 11 on 11 and 7 on 7 with no pads. So, make of that what you will. But I would say that's the biggest thing that stood out to me. Another thing is they have a lot of wide receivers, not recognizable names, not wide receiver ones. That's not what I'm hinting at here. But they have a lot of guys. There is 10 of them, and that's without Kendrick Bourne. So altogether 11. And then it was just, I think the offensive line mixtures kind of stood out. Caden Wallace was the third round offensive tackle who they sound pretty confident in moving from the right to the left. He wasn't with the first team. I don't even think he was with the second team for most of the time. He was getting some reps, but it was after a few other guys. So that was another thing that stood out. It's just one of those make of it what you will sort of practices sort of thing.
S-Mac, we'll come back to all 20 of those receivers you watched because, it's strength in numbers. Somebody's got to play out of that group, I would think. But I want to talk quarterbacks with you. There's 4 quarterbacks right now, and Jerod Mayo had a quote I'm sure you heard, and I want to get your thoughts on. Quote, once we get to training camp, that's real football. Out here in the spring, we'll rock with 4, but as soon as we get to training camp, you're going to start paring down the roster. Translation to me is that Bailey Zappi is finished here because I look at Joe Milton, and I'm sure you saw it in person, on video to me. This dude looked like straight out of a He-Man comic book, and he looks like he could throw a football over those mountains. We understand Drake May is Drake May, and we know Jacoby Brissett's going to be the starter, presumably. So I feel like Bailey Zappi's the odd guy out. Do you?
Yes, definitely. And it was kind of refreshing to hear Jerod say that straight up. I think it's been kind of a little bit of a talking point, like, when is it going to happen? Is Bailey Zappi even going to last until training camp? Are they going to keep all of them through training camp? So it was kind of refreshing to just hear exactly how Jerod essentially thinks it's going to play out. And I think that's probably the right way to do it, right? I mean, you don't want to go in there with, splitting reps between 4 or 5 quarterbacks in training camp. It wouldn't make much sense. So I think, paring it down to 3. You got Jacoby, definitely. You got Drake May, obviously. And so the conversation becomes Joe Milton versus Bailey. But I would agree. Joe Milton's ceiling is it's way too high. I mean, it's not like you spent a top, day 2 pick on him or anything like that, but you still spend some draft capital on him. And I just think it makes more sense in terms of, I don't see like Bailey Zappi's energy being like that of a 3rd string quarterback. Like, sure, I'll give up the reps. He has like that and kind of in a good way, I guess, credit to him. He has like that, I don't want to call it alpha. I think that's giving him way too much credit, but you guys know what I mean about, the fact that he's not going to just, give up his share of the moment sort of thing. And so I think with that, you can't have a third string quarterback that wants first string reps pretty much. And I think he would kind of be that guy. So yeah, I would definitely agree. I really don't even think it's going to be that much. They're going to say it's a competition. They're going to, all that sort of thing. But I really don't think it's going to be.
Yeah, I don't mind that he has that edge to him. But this is a guy in Bailey Zappi went from, I'm just hoping I make a roster to actually got starter reps 2 seasons in a row, executed both offenses, ran it better than Mac Jones. So that confidence is there for him. That's a guy that could step in and be a serviceable backup if you need him to keep the offense on track.
Yep.
I just don't see it in this room between Jacoby, Drake May, and Joe Milton. But we'll get to that at a later time. Talking about the wide receivers, you said there was 10 of them. You don't count Kendrick Bourne. Yes, that's 11. To me, it's Kendrick Bourne, Jalen Polk, Javon Baker. Those are the 3 guys that are safe and making the team. Then you have the Pop Douglases, the Juju Smith-Schusters, the Tyquan Thorntons, Kayshon Boutte, Jalen Reagor. Who do you see those 2, maybe final 3 spots going to out of the wide receivers that you're seeing at OTAs right now?
I think Pop is definite. I would say, I would really probably even say that there's a good chance that he's going to be like could be a starter for them. When it comes to Kendrick Bourne and Pop and maybe Jalen Polk called the top 3. Javon after that, definitely. I don't know. I'm going to still say I think Juju's going to make the team.
Oh.
Yeah, and he spoke with us yesterday, and he sounded very well. I guess everyone sounds confident in mid-May and
best
early August and all that.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So he was very confident in what he's going to bring, all that sort of thing. So I think he'll be in the group as well. So it'll be interesting. It's just seeing those guys go through the drills. There's not a lot of they don't differentiate a lot. It feels like you're watching 6, 7, 8 of the same guys, same players, just based on their size and their skill set and all this sort of stuff. So it's not a very diverse group of receivers, I guess, is kind of what I'm getting at.
Dynamic, another way I'd put it too. But I agree.
Yeah.
Break down the offensive line for us. I mean, obviously, update us on Cole Strange too. What's up with him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm sure everyone saw the Rappaport thing today. It was, Jerod said yesterday he was asked for, I think the exact question was like a rough timeline, and he said, a lot of times you'll call guys day to day, sometimes you'll call them week to week. He's really like a month by month case, and again, in mid-May, you don't think of month by month, okay, that means maybe July or, training camp or whatever, that sort of thing. That could be month by month if you're looking at August and that sort of timeline. So I didn't think anything too severe of that, but the Rappaport report that just came out today about, missing at least the start of the season, I think is pretty notable. I actually might even said to you guys last time I was on that I think Layden Robinson has a legit chance to, serve as a starter even, and that would be taking Cole Strange's job. So I don't know if it's so much in the case of like, oh my God, this is a huge loss. It's just the offensive line is not in a good position, and losing another guy due to injury just makes it worse, right? I mean, it's less bodies, it's less competition in there. So I do think that, the first round pick, all that sort of thing, like I'm not going to put Cole Strange in that sort of category. I don't think you're losing a first round pick per se, but you're losing a guy that you thought maybe could start for a group that, is just the starters are up in the air, put it that way.
Yeah.
Especially on the left side where you're going to have a swing tackle starting at left tackle, and now you're ready to go with the patchwork type of play. Because Sidney So, who many said should be the starter at right guard, did a good job for them last season. We're seeing him at left guard, and then who do you have slotting in? Maybe Antonio Mafi, who has split time there between left and the right side. It's all up in the air. We also heard from Keon White, second-year defensive lineman, was great out of Georgia Tech for the Pats last season. But he mentioned it's day and night between Bill and Jerod Mayo because Bill would always be cursing at the players nonstop. And someone said that's a good thing, right? And he's like, no, I want that. I want the hard coaching.
Yeah.
What stood out to you as someone that's been there for Patriots practices in the past, games throughout the last few seasons, to now watching Jerod run the show as the head coach on the field of this team?
I mean, it's just different. It really it's kind of weird. The first day of like the rookie mini camp, going over there without Bill Belichick, it was just a weird feeling. And I mean, all off season we're hearing about the culture and all this sort of thing, and it's clear that Jerod is more of a player's coach and all that. But it just feels different. Players are, I don't want to call it happier, but it seems like they're a little bit more relaxed. It was, right after Juju, he finished his, media availability yesterday, and he kind of ran off and he said, like, you guys are going to see it. Like the locker room, like the vibes are high is how he put it. And again, we can make of it what we will, and we kind of have over the last, since it happened in January. But when you hear players say that, you got to take it at face value at the same time. I mean, it's kind of a meaningful thing. So it's just, I would say it's still very, like all things, right? But, it's still very early. Jerod is very new. So we'll see how the vibes are when this team is, maybe 0-6 or 0-8 to start the year.
Right.
But right now, it seems like players are happier, and it's kind of a fresh voice and new start sort of thing.
S-Mac, you said it, brother. Like I mean, this team is young. They're going to have that youthful exuberance. It's a new head coach. It's a lot of new, right? That new car scent. But listen, I mean, I'm looking at the schedule. I know you ain't got it in front of you, brother, but you've looked at it. Spoiler alert, not many primetime games to speak of, but as you kind of go through this, George and I have been going through this schedule here. I mean, man, what's your record? I mean, that's it. Hey, look, there is so much talk around the office, S-Mac, about, predictions and who's got the best record. And, where are you? I just want to know where you're at now that you've gone through this thing.
I think it's going to be a very slow start. I think, maybe they win week 2, maybe they win the home opener. But other than that, I can really see that being a 1-5 start, maybe a 1-7 start with that Seattle win. Yeah. And then you get some better games, I guess. At that point, maybe Drake is coming in. I don't know. I think the defense will keep them in some games, but I don't think it's going to be like this complete. It's not going to be drastically different than last year. So I would say if you're asking for a record, I would say right now probably 5-12.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
I would say 5-12.
I think that's a sweet spot, though.
That's where I'm at.
Because my brash instant reaction, they're beating these West Coast teams coming over to the East Coast.
Right.
I like to enter their schedule. I had them 7-10. I slept on it. I went to 6-11. I look at it more. Yeah. I fall on that 5-12. Point being, this team, and you've seen the roster firsthand. Yes, against air, no pads, 11-on-11, 7-on-7s. Does this team look that much better than last year?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think it's really almost insane that how little they did in terms of bringing in proven offensive linemen. I mean, I understand you bring back, Mike Onwenu, great. He was here last year at 4-13. David Andrews just gets an extension, well-deserved. He was here at 4-13. I mean, and now it's, you have like this, I don't know, mix at left tackle that it just, Caden Wallace is, it sounds like he's confident. He's coming across confident, but I can't even pronounce his first name, but the left tackle,
Chuck
George helped me out with that.
Did you call him Chuck?
Hey, you asked for the right guy to help you. You asked for the right help, S-Mac, because you knew damn well I had no life raft to give you, brother.
No, and he joked yesterday that Chucks is a good name to call him. So we'll go with Chucks. But he sounded like he signed and he didn't know that he was going to be left tackle. Like he signed with the Patriots thinking that he was going to compete for a starting job. At the time, it was expected that on when it would be back, but it wasn't definite. And so he signed with the Patriots. Elliott Wolf, Jerod Mayo, they're all penciling him in as a starter right now, and they did 6 weeks ago before the draft. But they might be confident, but this guy doesn't come across, at least to me, confident. I actually, I asked him yesterday, because he's just talking about, it's going to take so much time. It's not going to be a quick transition. He's saying all these things. So it's like, okay, well, I asked, what's your level of confidence? And he said, yeah, I'm confident. I'm like, okay, you don't sound super confident. And again, this is your left tackle. You have a developing rookie quarterback. I just don't understand, kind of the effort that they put in for that position. And so I think that's huge. I think, receivers, again, when we're talking in the big picture, they have guys, they have 11 of them right now. But I mean, they'll have players on the field. They'll have NFL receivers, but they don't have game-changing wide receivers. They don't have anyone that's going to be like that. And until we see Jalen Polk, until we see Javon Baker do that, I don't think it's really – I think we're kind of stretching a little bit if we say, well, one of these guys that was drafted in the second or third or fourth round is all of a sudden going to come in and, lift the offense. And I do think Drake May will help. I think Antonio Gibson will be, a nice piece, but are we really saying that Antonio Gibson is going to move the needle a win or two? Or,
No.
Same thing with the receiver room. That's just not the way the roster is. So I don't think they're that much better than last year at this current moment. And I think it comes down to the exact positions that they entered the off seasons with questions marked at.
Well, S-Mac, there's some breaking news out there out of Cincy. T. Higgins won't report to OTAs next week, and he told the Bengals, don't you even think about getting me to sign that franchise tag because I ain't doing it. So all I'm saying is T. Higgins may still be in play here. Patriots have some money. I mean, can we make this happen, S-Mac? Come on, give us some hope here. Give us a sliver of hope of an actual, real-life, grown-up NFL wide receiver.
Yeah. I mean, I was saying it for, not just everyone was saying it. We've all been saying it for months. Before the draft, I thought it made total sense for them to trade a second-round pick for him, trade, that sort of thing. But since he wasn't going to do it. And now I just can't see the Bengals moving off him at this point. I think it makes too much sense. They are in this window right now where they have legit Super Bowl, contention in their sights. And I don't think it makes a ton of sense for you to move off this receiver. And it might come down to just waiting him out. I mean, at that point, do we really think this T. Higgins is going to sit the entire season? These players have been called on their bluffs before, and it hasn't gone their way. They come back, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks into the year. And for the Bengals, I feel like that's kind of all you need, right? You just need him. You need him there when you're trying to make a run. And so for that, I don't think that he's going to be moved at this point.
You don't trade a second-round pick. You only have to give up a second. He's 6'4", 220. He walks in there. 70 catches, 1,000 yards in the door, 7 touchdowns. A second-round pick, you have to give him a 3-year deal, that 4th-year dummy year deal for $75 million. I'm thinking Devontae Smith type numbers. He's going to want that number 1 money.
Write the check.
Are you asking me if I do it?
I'm saying that's what the Patriots should do. I think you would.
Yes.
If you're the Pats, right? And then you get that dynamic number 1 because you have this room full of wide receiver 2s that are going to take some time to get along.
But he's saying the Bengals won't do it.
I think the Bengals do hold on to him too, but that's a cheap franchise. So I wouldn't be completely surprised if they don't come together. And then if his value dives because they pay Joe Burrow, they pay Jamar Chase, they have to pay Jamar Chase, then they let T. Higgins walk. But keep in mind, they also lost Tyler Boyd. So then it's like Will Smith after Uncle Phil's house got robbed. Joe Burrow's going to walk in the wide receiver room, him and Jamar Chase, and can see no one there. So
no, he needs Jamar Chase in there, and he's just
having
fine.
Jamar Chase would be kind of cool.
Yes, that's all he needs.
You need a good number 2 opposite of him.
Yeah, I mean, George, I completely agree. Should the Patriots do it? Yes, without a doubt. They should still try to do it. They should still, make those calls and do everything they can to do it. I don't think that the Bengals will. And I agree. Like this could be a bad decision for their organization. I mean, if they don't win a Super Bowl next year, and then all of a sudden T. Higgins walks, like, you overplayed your hand quite a bit, and I don't think they're going to pay him. I don't know. I don't even think they're going to pay him long term either. So that's why, like, this is such a strange situation that they wouldn't just try to get something for the asset, but they clearly see it as they can go for a Super Bowl right now, and they need him in order to go for a Super Bowl. So there you have it.
All right, he's Sean McGuire of NESN.com. Thanks for the reports right from OTAs, or as Trav would call him. You go with it, T.
S-Mac.
S-Mac,
That's what he is.
Appreciate you joining us from the side of I-95. Get home safe, bro.
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate
That was
it.
Sean McGuire of NESN.com. Make sure to head over to NESN.com, of course, to check out all his work from Pat's training camp throughout the offseason and throughout the entire Patriots season as well. Now, you guys remember last time on Foxboro Rush, Trav and I got 10 games into the season with our pick-by-pick predictions. Here's a little flashback to that to catch you guys caught up. Back on the road against your boy, future Hall of Famer, Caleb Williams.
Winnable game again. I'm going to go L here because you mentioned Caleb Williams. I think he's about to take this league by storm, and I think, the Patriots would have their hands full with him. If I'm wrong about him, that's a winnable game. In the same way I just talked about Will Levis and the Titans. I don't believe in Will Levis, but I could be wrong. If Will Levis is a stud, that's no longer a winnable game. If I'm wrong about Caleb Williams and he's not a stud, that Bears game's winnable. But being on the road, I'll take the Bears to win that loss for the Patriots.
10 weeks into the season, we have the Patriots at 3-7. Drake May talk's going to come out very early.
Sure.
All right, Trav, so that was us through 10 games.
Yeah.
We both have the Patriots with just 3 wins. How hot will the Drake May talk be at that point before we get to the final 7 games of the season?
In fuego, my friend. And you know who's going to be beating the drum the loudest?
You.
Your boy.
I know it.
I mean, bro, I don't even want it to get to that point. He should already be playing by that point, in my opinion. But if he's not, by the time we get here, you got to beat that drum, brother.
Between, as Sean McGuire told us, Chuck Okorafor not even knowing he was going to play left tackle.
Yeah.
And Cole Strange going down. I don't want Drake Mace playing at all at this season, at this point, with how bad that O-line is. But let's get into it. So get back from back-to-back road games where we have them beating the Titans in Tennessee because the Titans stink, but losing to the Bears in Chicago because that is a good defense. That's a great offense. Sounded all the key positions, tackle, quarterback, wide receiver.
We think they'll be great.
They come back home. Oh, they'll be a Hall of Fame offense, according to you.
Well,
when they come back home, they being the Patriots, 1 p.m. kickoff, hosting the Los Angeles Rams, led by Matt Stafford, a team that just went into the draft and completely revamped their front 7 using both of their top 2 picks in the draft on that. Do you have them beating the Rams coming over from the West Coast, or do you have the Patriots catching an L again?
Here's what's interesting, right? I remember when you and I initially looked at this together. If I'm not mistaken, this was a coin flip game for you. Now, I don't know if that's changed since we initially looked at this together, but I was staunch. This is the reason I remember it. Because you saying it was a coin flip, I was offended. I am a staunch believer that the Rams will beat the Patriots down. Here's why. The Rams ended the regular season with 4 straight wins to get into the postseason. When they got into the postseason, no one wanted to play that team because of Sean McVay, because they were hot, because they looked good. Sure enough, I mean, they did lose to the Lions on Wild Card Weekend, but that was one of the best games there was in the entire postseason. That was a 1-point game that they could have won. It came down to the wire. This Rams team, I know they lost Aaron Donald, and obviously that's a huge loss. But they are ready to rock and roll. And even though Aaron Donald was still a dominant force, he was the veteran on that defense. They have a very young, opportunistic, fast defense. So my thought process is they're going to be one of those teams that the offense carries and the defense just, please, tread water for us, and they'll be a playoff team. Neither of us believe the Patriots will be a playoff team. So I'm going L here for the Pats. The Rams will win that game.
Yeah, because we saw what the Rams did in the draft. Go out and get your boy. It's your boy, Jerod Verse, in the first round.
Yep.
Their first round pick since 2016. Then they come back around on day 2 and take Braden Fisk, his teammate from FSU. So they go edge, and they go defensive tackle, 1 tech right away. So you know they're going to want to win at the line of scrimmage. This Rams team and this defense has shown up. And guess what they're going to be matched up with? Even though it's 2 rookies at 2 key spots on the defense, bad offensive line. I just think the Rams are more sound on offense, more on defense. I've changed my tune. This is going to be an L for the Patriots. And even because I look at it and I go, it's a Rams, West Coast team coming to the East Coast, early kickoff. It's not a primetime game. That's why I was thinking Patriots get the win just because the Rams are traveling over, but I don't have hope here for them. No. I think the Rams are too sound. Sean McVay is too solid of a coach. There's going to be a young coaching staff, a team figuring a lot of things out. And who knows at this point, actually, now I'm the guy that's beating the drum, say, Drake May, week 14. But actually, by this point, who knows who's playing quarterback? And you have Drake May out there trying to figure out life in the NFL. So that is an L for the Patriots, 3-8 now. What about the following week? So after welcoming the Rams to town, this is where stuff gets dicey. It's week 12. It's late into the season. This is a New England team. This is why it gets dicey. Because they go to South Beach, Miami. And if you know, the New England Patriots, they call Foxboro home. It's not exactly where the clubs are of Seaport or the good bars. Shoot, even if they want to live down in Providence, they go down to South Beach, warm weather, better nightlife, the distractions come out.
Sounds like trouble.
South Beach alone, because of 11 and KOD, I'm giving the win to the Dolphins. But also, this is going to be another great Mike McDaniel offense. Year 3 of Tua in this system.
Right.
Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Odell Beckham Jr., Devin Achane, healthy. Raheem Mostert, healthy. We'll see if they are at this point. They got another great rookie running back. They upgraded their offensive line in the draft. This should be a better Dolphins team. This is an L for me and the Patriots because it's in Miami. But again, Miami roster-wise is just a notch better than the Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, you said it gets dicey. The Patriots will get sliced and diced in South Beach. That's how dicey it's going to get. I mean, like I already told you, the Dolphins are winning the division, and it's the only team in the division that I believe will sweep the Patriots. I do think the Patriots will split with the Bills and split with your Jets, but I do not believe they are going to split with the Dolphins. I think they're going to get swept by them, and neither game will be particularly close.
The Miami Dolphins are your AFC East darling.
Yeah, they're going to win the division. And again, I think they'll win the division in such a manner that it's going to create hype to, hey, maybe the Dolphins can get it done this year. And unless they are the number 1 seed in the AFC, I don't see that happening. And listen, they could be the number 1 seed, but it's likely that's not going to happen. There's too many other teams in the AFC that you can think of that are going to be vying for that top seed in the conference. With that being said, one of them jokers is going to have cold weather, and that will be the Dolphins' kryptonite. So I feel more comfortable placing my faith in this team to be a regular season team like they've already shown us they are, win the division, put up numbers. Tua's going to look great, probably get paid from that franchise, which will be a mistake, but we'll get in the playoffs. They'll look good at home, and then eventually they're going to have to go to a Baltimore or a Kansas City again or a Cincy or whatevs, and they're going to catch an L.
You said it, that they're going to win, and then you said it again, which was crossed my mind. If they win the division and they get a playoff win in there, Tua is going to be making $57 million a year.
They're going to pay him, George.
And he will be the next Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
He'll be the Jaylen Brown of the NFL. Why is he making all that damn money? He hasn't earned it. But Jaylen Brown, I would say, is worth it. Tua is not worth it.
Well, I'll say this, though.
That system's worth it.
To defend Tua, if he gets some money from Miami, he'll be fine. He'll be what we've seen. If he gets that money elsewhere, that's where we'll see, it was the system. I don't think like Tua's going to get paid and all of a sudden suck, George. The issue is over time, if you pay him that kind of money, you're going to be in the same position the Dallas Cowboys are with Dak, where it's like we're paying this guy all this money, but we don't win anything, right? If Tua has to go on the road, as I mentioned, to a cold city, like, half of the teams in the damn AFC, they're in trouble in the playoffs. So why would you pay a guy that you don't really feel as though can get you over that hump?
Because it's better to have someone and pay them than have no one.
Sure.
And you're just going to be bottom
But
of the
if it's the system, George, that may not necessarily be true, right?
Now that I agree
right?
with.
Maybe you reset it, you draft a kid, and go for it.
Weak quarterback draft, though. That's my worry. Unless
Hey,
you
how
get
about
someone
Shador? Shador in South Beach. Does
if
that
he
work?
falls, yes. If he falls to them, yes. Dolphins make that pick. We'll see. If they're making the playoffs, though,
Yeah.
this is a team that at earliest will be picking 20, right?
Right.
So that's where my concern comes in. If Shador slides, or shoot, if they just leverage their entire future draft pick wise and trade up and get to a spot of Shador Sanders
Right.
range. Maybe Quinn Ewers, get him with some value. If he could run that system and make the reads and make the throws, why not?
Right.
All right, next up, your second favorite team in the NFL.
Yeah.
I don't really know who your favorite team is, but the Colts to me are your second favorite team.
They're my favorite sleeper.
I like this because you believe in a healthy Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
Week 13, this one's at home.
Right.
Right before the bye.
Yeah.
What do you see with this team? And this is a roster, again, good offense, got banged up at quarterback. What do you want them to do?
Right.
Anthony Richardson, who knows if he's healthy? But this wide receiver room, Michael Pittman Jr., Josh Downs, and A.D. Mitchell. That's a lot of dynamic guys, and then Jonathan Taylor coming out of the backfield. What do you have, win or loss for the Patriots here?
Well, remember the thing about Jonathan Taylor, too, who I know you're a fan of as well as I am, is he's playing a full season this season, and he gets a full offseason with his team.
Yep.
Right? You remember last year what was going on with the contract stuff. So, look, I just think this is a sleeper team. I think everyone's talking about the Texans. I think everyone's talking about the Jags, do or die time, and all this nonsense. And it's like, listen, there's a team in that division that no one's talking about. We understand the Titans are still trying to figure it out. But the Colts damn near made the playoffs last year. Anthony Richardson got hurt. Gardner Minshew came in and steadied the ship. And it's just a solid roster for everything you just said. They run the ball. They have the receivers. The defense is good. Shane Steichen can coach. They're well coached. I just think all the attention's on these other teams in the division. Meanwhile, this could be the one that wins it. So I have them coming into Foxboro and beating the Patriots. Now, I do also understand the mentality of this could be a coin flip game as well, and it could be.
I think it is.
So, I'm certainly not going to call you crazy if you say this is a winnable game for the Patriots. It is. But I just caution you that I believe the Indianapolis Colts are being slept on by all the so-called experts out there. No one's talking about them. Everyone's talking about the Jags and the Texans in that division. Don't be surprised if Anthony Richardson, who showed us he could play before he got hurt, as you said, if he's healthy, it's a dangerous team, brother.
That offense is scary. You know who the Colts' backup quarterback is this upcoming season, though?
Who is it now? Because Minshew's in L.A.
Do you know
Vegas.
who it is? You know who it is?
Who?
Joe Flacco.
Oh, God, that's even better.
You know what it is?
They upgraded.
Joe Flacco in those defensive meeting rooms that week. I played in this system for Alex Van Pelt. This is how you pick it apart.
Yep.
So this is where I'm caught. Because I am looking optimistically. I'm looking glass half full. I'm looking at my magic 8 ball. And I'm saying this is when Drake May makes his debut for the Patriots.
Okay.
It's at home. It's right before the bye. To me, this is a semi-winnable game, as winnable as they can be, taking on a Colts team that's good, not great. But they could be great, and I'm with you. If this offense is hitting on all cylinders with all that skill and talent and speed, that could be scary.
Yeah.
Now it comes into, if Drake May's making his debut, is that the growing pains of a rookie, first time in the NFL? Or is it Drake May making his debut and we see a completely different offense from the Patriots like we're used to, right? Because he comes in, he is so dynamic. His arm talent is so off the charts that he adds another layer, another wrinkle, just a whole nother element to this Patriots offense that Jacoby Brissett couldn't provide. And that could catch the Colts defense sleeping in a way of, we were not expecting this. We didn't prepare for this. This is what happens.
Right.
This is a tough one for me. Out of all the games, it's hilarious because I picture this game, I say right before the bye, I have Drake May playing. Now, if a guy's going to sit 12 weeks, and if this offensive line is good enough, and the run game is there, and your wide receivers, your rookies are contributing, and then the vets like Juju Smith-Schuster are healthy enough to contribute, Pop Douglas, KJ Osborne, Kendrick Bourne, they take a jump, right? And your tight ends are just okay and getting by, and this defense is good. I'm going to give the win here. And I have the Patriots 4-9 going into the bye. Now, because of how bad this Patriots team is, this could be like Drake May's 4th, 5th start of the season.
Sure.
And again, he's more experienced heading into this one. So that's where I go. But this Colts team, if that offense is healthy, is scary. Yeah. I just need to see Anthony Richardson learn how to not take hits and learn to live
Yeah.
another down in the NFL.
Right. No, that's a good point, bro. I mean, look, it's easier said than done because he's so gifted. And this is a guy who's not – this isn't Lamar Jackson we're talking about, who's a smaller dude. So, like, you need to learn how to protect yourself. I think Anthony Richardson's mentality is like, yo, I was running over people in the SEC. Those are pros. So I'm built for it. We saw this happen to Cam Newton.
Yep.
And unfortunately, his career was not as long and prosperous as it should have been because of it.
Yep.
We saw it happen to Ben Roethlisberger, too, to a certain extent, although I think a lot of that was cheeseburgers. So Anthony Richardson's going to have to figure –
Kelvin Benjamin? Oh, we're talking
right.
quarterback. We're talking
saying,
quarterbacks.
In all seriousness,
I feel you.
I almost feel like Anthony Richardson – you can look at him and see he doesn't have that mentality. Like he's built like a transformer. I mean, the guy's Optimus Prime. So it's a thin line there because like he's gifted enough to do what he's doing and try to run cats over. But it's like, well, how long is that going to last in this league?
All right, so after I have them beating the Colts, you have them losing to the Colts?
Yes.
Just so we're making sure. All right. So at this point, I have the Patriots at 4-9. They go into the bye.
Okay.
They come out, go to Arizona, West Coast trip.
Yeah.
And this is an Arizona team, I mean, more draft picks than I knew any team was capable of having.
Right.
The offense now, Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Wilson, Trey McBride. So mobile quarterback with 3 good weapons. Second year as a head coach there in Jonathan Gannon, who did a good job with this team. They were competitive to the end.
They played for him, yeah.
They did. Turned that defense around, and they invested a ton on that side of the ball. Do you have the Patriots winning or losing against the Cardinals?
All right, let me first address the bye week. You know, I think bye weeks in general that are late in the season, this is just my theory, are better for veteran teams. You know, I think veteran teams that get banged up, they know, okay, we're getting close to December, January now. That's winning football time. Let's get our bodies refreshed. Let's spend some time with our families and come back recharged, ready to rock and roll for a championship push. What I don't know enough of is how does a late bye affect a young team that likely is not going to be in playoff contention? So I have some question marks there. I don't know the answer, but it's something I'm thinking of. So a veteran team here, I say all that to say, I would take them coming out of the bye, going on the road, being buttoned up, prepared, ready to rock and roll, go in and beat this team no matter who it was. The issue I have is this is not a veteran team. This is a young team with a rookie head coach. So I'm going to – it's a coin flip game, but I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to the Cardinals at home. You know, they had more draft picks than anyone in that draft that you mentioned. And outside of Marvin Harrison Jr., who's just generational, we think, they really filled out the roster. Like, they filled out the holes in their roster with the rest of those picks. So I think the Cardinals have an opportunity to also be a sleeper. I will say this, George, in terms of the other side of the coin, even though I'm going Cardinals here.
Okay.
If they are trash again this season and Kyler Murray's immature, because Kyler Murray's immature, there's an opportunity for that team to be checked out. And the Patriots can go in there as a young, hungry team coming off the bye and get a good quality road win. But we don't know enough yet to know enough. My gut is the Cardinals are going to be vastly improved this season. And so I'm going to give them the win there.
This is a Cardinals team. They'll have a Week 11 bye.
Yeah.
And their stretch at Seattle, at Minnesota, home against Seattle, home against New England, at Carolina. It's an easy stretch out of the bye, if you ask me. So I feel like they're going to be rested. You mentioned it. I mean, this is a team, but they don't have that Cliff Kingsbury Arizona Cardinals stink to them anymore. Like, people paying attention, they saw they got a gem out of tight end in Trey McBride. They have a dynamic quarterback, a scrambling quarterback that Patriots defenses, assisted by Jerod Mayo, have struggled with over the years against mobile quarterbacks that can do more than hurt you with just their arm. I have the Patriots catching the L here. They go out to the West Coast. You mentioned that's a late bye. This team could be so run into the ground because they have to play 13 straight games.
Right.
And keep in mind, the Patriots are given the option, hey, you're playing the Jaguars in London week 7, week 8, bye, it's all yours. And they declined it. They weren't expecting to get a bye this late in the season.
Yeah.
right after week 13, week 14. They were expecting, maybe week 10, week 11, who knows? So that's going to be a long wait. But I just think you take a young team, prep them on the road, out in Arizona. If it's Drake May at this point, a quarterback still learning.
Yeah.
He has to learn how to prepare on the road. So many adjustments, change to your routine. I have an L here, and at this point, I have the Patriots with just 4 wins in their first 14 games.
Yeah.
And then, doesn't get any prettier.
No.
Because after they at least go to warm Arizona, where there is a retractable roof at whatever they call that stadium now, if it's still University of Phoenix, I don't know. Then they go up north to Buffalo, week 15. And at this point in the season, it could be 20 degrees out, snowing, or it could just be 20 degrees out and freezing cold. And again, you're going to have a bad Patriots offense up north in Buffalo. What do you think about this game?
I'm going to tell you, like I tell my wife when we talk about our kids, they got to learn. Drake May's got to learn. So you know what? Yeah, it's going to be cold. Get used to it because that's happening. By the way, it's State Farm Arena now.
Out in Arizona?
State Farm Stadium, yeah. That's why I looked it up just for reference there. So congrats to the one Cardinal fan watching the program. Whoever you are. Look, I'm going to take splits here with the Bills. I already told you they're going to split with everyone in the division except the Jets. So I'll go a loss here, but I do like a win for the Patriots in the season finale at home against the Bills. Even though I don't believe the Bills are winning the division, I think their championship window has closed shut. I do think when Josh Allen is your quarterback, you're going to be a wild card team. So my gut is they're still going to be fighting for that at the juncture of this game. And then by the finale, they should have a wild card wrapped up, and I'll give the Patriots a win there.
How about this stretch by the Bills leading up to this game? Week 11, home against Kansas City. Bye week, home against San Fran. At the Rams, at the Lions. Home against the Patriots, home against the Jets, at the Patriots to end the season.
Lord.
That 4-game stretch before they see New England, they're going to see a bad Patriots team with just 4 wins coming into High Mark Stadium or High Water Stadium or whatever they call it, table jumping stadium, and go, yes, please. Like, think about Bills fans that grew up getting their heart ripped out. They go, finally, the Patriots are here. They're going to catch an L from the Bills, 4-11.
Oh, yeah.
But then the Patriots come home. They finish with 2 home games.
Yeah.
Week 17, it is the Los Angeles Chargers. What do you say here?
Bills Mafia Stadium, we'll call it. Listen, man, say what you want about him. He's a weirdo. Cool. Jim Harbaugh wins, bro. I'm a fan. Like, weirdos get stuff done. I'm a weirdo. I'm doing all right. Like, it happens. Jim Harbaugh wins everywhere he goes immediately. So now he comes back. He handpicks his team in the NFL. You really think that they're going to struggle? Hail to the no. I think the Chargers not only win this game, I think they change their recent history. I think the Chargers are going to be hot, caliente, going down the stretch of a season for once. And they're going to go in the postseason and be tough. This is an L for the Pats.
This is a win for the Patriots. Chargers are coming over from the West Coast late in the season. They have no one left on offense. Literally, no one left on offense. Ladd McConkey's your number 1 option on the outside. Great offensive line. Rashawn Slater, Joe Alt. Good for you guys. You have 2 all-pro, all-universe tackles to lead the future. But this is a bad Chargers team in the middle of the rebuild themselves. They have the better quarterback. And yes, they have Jim Harbaugh, to me, obviously the better NFL head coach. But I give the Patriots the win here, and it's because they're catching your boy, Jim Weirdo Harbaugh, at the right time. And they're catching this roster at the right time. That's cash-strapped, that is talent void, has a great quarterback in Justin Herbert. But I think the Chargers coming over to New England to play at Gillette, they catch an L from the Patriots, and that's their 5th win of the season.
Yeah.
And then it all comes down to Week 18, home against Buffalo on a Sunday, January 5th. What do you have your prediction for this one?
Win in a meaningless game for the Bills. That's my 5th win of the year, 5-12.
That's your 5th win. I have them catching an L. I think the Bills will still be fighting for a playoff spot at this point because of how bad that roster is. So I think that can spell a lot of trouble for them. So I have the Patriots finishing with just 5 wins on the year, 5-12.
Well, we agree on that. We disagree on Drake May. We disagree on some of the teams that they're going to win or lose to, but we agree on the final schedule. I don't know how you went from 7 to 5 on one night's sleep, but whatever happened to your dreams, I'm glad it happened because you came to your senses.
It's taking, the right things, before you go to bed.
Oh, there you go.
Just
Aaron
taking
Rodgers.
care of my body. Exactly. Drinking some ayahuasca. Hey, you know what it was? It's Foxboro Rush. Make sure to tune in. 3 new episodes every week. Thank you to Sean McGuire of NESN.com for joining us. We'll see you guys later.